That short clip shows German Armored Train number 3 in the Firchau train station on September 1st of 1939, just before the invasion of Poland. The story behind it is truly remarkable. For this video series, I've gathered a large assortment of original sources, with the most important being the first-hand account of the German officer who ended up in charge of Panzerzug, or Armored Train number 3, during the invasion of Poland. Here in the first part of this series, I'll introduce the crew of the train and we'll see the beginning of that operation. In addition, I've got the officer's original assessment of the effectiveness of using such Panzerzüge that he wrote at the conclusion of the campaign, which we'll talk about in later episodes. Unfortunately, much of the combat footage that I'd like to include can't be uploaded on YouTube because of its graphic nature. Currently, we're working on an independent video-on-demand platform that will give me complete freedom. If you'd like to be kept up to date on that project, click the link that you see in the pinned comment below. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You won't be disappointed, I promise. On July 23, 1938, 4 of the 7 trains that were incorporated into the Wehrmacht had 77 caliber infantry cannons from the First World War installed. As you can see here, these early trains had little armor, with the original wood slats offering little protection to those inside. For this reason, the trains that were operating in September of 1939, including Panzerzug 3, were actually Kampfzüge, or battle trains, and not armored trains, as they are usually referred to as. Panzerzug 3, originally under the command of Lieutenant Oyn, had soldiers from the 19th Reserve Infantry Battalion, artillerymen from the 7th Reserve Artillery Regiment, and soldiers from the 7th Reserve Battalion of Communications. In total, there were a crew of 160, with 8 of them being officers. In addition, it was preceded by a 6-wheeled SDKFZ 231 armored car that had been adapted to driving on rails, which was to perform reconnaissance tasks. This map shows both the original borders of Germany and Poland from September 1st, and also the new border between Germany and the Soviet Union that was secretly agreed upon in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact that was signed on August 23rd, just 8 days before the outbreak of war. We're specifically interested in the attack on the Polish corridor that Panzerzug 3 was involved in. The German Heeresgruppe Nord, or Army Group North, was led by Generalfeldmarschall von Bock and was made up of the 3rd Army that was situated in East Prussia and the 4th Army that would be attacking from the west. Panzerzug 3 was part of the 4th Army in the 19th Army Corps. As the 20th Infantry Division advanced in the left pincher maneuver of the 4th Army, Panzerzug 3 was to take the train station at Konitz by surprise in order to capture the transit railway to East Prussia and hold it until the arrival of the Infantry Regiment 90, which was linked to the 20th Infantry Division. On the night of August 31st, September 1st, Panzerzug 3 was brought forward to the German border station of Linde. This is how the Germans' elaborate ruse was supposed to work. At 4:14 a.m., the traffic dispatcher of the German border railway station Firchau announced the departure of the fast transit train 704 to Krolowitz with an expected arrival time in Konitz at 4:31. Here again we see the incredible footage of Panzerzug 3 stopping at Firchau station just before crossing over into Poland. In Lieutenant Zettler's own words, this is what happened. We traveled on this heavily overcast day to the border. As we approach and pass columns of our advancing infantry, thick fog hinders our vision considerably. Passing the last German outposts, we can make out the shapes of gun emplacements positioned behind barns and stacks of hay. We call out and wave to our comrades as we pass. Then we're alone in enemy territory, certainly being one of the first German elements to cross the border. As we approach the first bridge, we realize that we'll quickly know if we've been successful. Will the bridge blow up beneath us? Traveling at high speed, we mount the bridge and make it safely to the other side. Maybe the thick fog, which limits vision to no farther than 20 meters, has been to our advantage and kept the enemy from seeing our advance. Of course, with the fog, we also can't see the enemy either, whose first line of defense we have already surely raced past. As with the first bridge, we also make it over the second bridge without incident. Traveling at high speed, there were a few stressful moments of waiting, and then we were through. As we continue over the third bridge, a building suddenly rises up through the fog, then a water tower, and farther off the outline of a large city. We've reached the city of Chojnice, Konitz. Passing storage buildings and the tall water tower that supposedly has an anti-tank gun built into it, we enter the train station. At 4:45, our train stops directly in front of the main station building, and we aren't met by any kind of resistance. A few bureaucrats run off carrying bundles of papers under their arms. This is a photograph of a German train that was taken at the Konitz station during the occupation of Poland. Lieutenant Yun orders the two groups of troopers, led by Corporals Hahn and Sturm, to rush the station building and take control. In all the confusion, this is done quickly, with numerous unarmed soldiers, railroad workers, and unlucky civilians taken prisoner. Here's a photograph of the prisoners being guarded by German soldiers. At 5:10 a.m., Army Corps is radioed and informed that the train station is in German hands. Here again is a collection that these videos are based on. In part 2 of this series, we'll see how the Poles reacted to the taking of Konitz and the fate of Panzerzug 3 and its crew. This is an example of the video-on-demand platform that's being worked on. The format of the private channel will be different than here on YouTube. In addition to documentaries like this, we will also be offering subscribers theme-based raw material intended for historical research or specific interests of serious amateur historians. It'll really be everything that I'd want myself. Please click the link on the pinned comment to make sure that you keep up to date on this project. I'm really excited about moderating it. Thanks for watching.